Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors, however, so.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. The drama is ramping up on Young and Restless as the window for rescuing Sharon narrows and the walls close in on Jordan. What will happen next? Read on. Much has been said on social media about Sharon being held captive in an underground sewer in the middle of a freezing cold Wisconsin winter, wearing nothing more than a glitzy New Year's Eve jumpsuit, and how she hasn't died of hypothermia already remains a mystery. Nick has consciously pressed Chance about time running out to save Sharon, without being specific as to what exactly he means by that, but hey, it's a soap opera. As it stands, Sharon is alive and no longer chained, but has collapsed due to what we can only assume is weakness, the effects of the PCP, and dehydration, as she recently discovered. The only water left for her was tainted by the drugs. Chance and Nick, meanwhile, are getting closer in their quest to find her with the Y&R weekly preview video teasing that they will find Jordan's lipstick print on a glass in the motel room, with Nick's growing impatience to locate Sharon. It's only a matter of time before he locates her. In fact, fans won't have to wait long at all for the Newman's White Knight moment. Sneak peeks have him arriving in the sewer on Wednesday's episode, unless of course this is another hallucination on Sharon's part. After all, it wouldn't be the first time she's conjured up her hero. Meanwhile, Claire has put into motion a plan to rid herself and her family of crazy Aunt Jordan once and for all. Or has she? We couldn't help but wonder what the heck is going on here when we saw the preview photos of what happens next with her and Jordan. Things that make you go H. We get that Claire's plan relies on convincing Jordan that they're a team again, working together against the new ones, but the young woman may be crossing a line when she brings her diabolical aunt into the family's inner sanctum. Yes, that's right. We said inner sanctum, the tack house to be specific, where Victoria lives, where Katie and Johnny live. We're honestly surprised Jordan agreed to walk into the lion's den, as it were, considering it could well be a trap indeed. Young and Restless spoilers tell us that Victor springs one on the unsuspecting villain by Thursday, so Claire luring Jordan onto the property could be a part of it. Sharon had always believed in the unexpected. She wasn't one for routines, and the mundane bore her quickly. The sport that lit up her world was the unknown, the thrill of a new discovery, the idea that any moment could be something extraordinary. This belief was something she lived by, something that kept her moving through life with an open heart and a curiosity that often led her to people she wouldn't have otherwise met. Jordan, on the other hand, was more calculated. He had a love for patterns, for understanding the world in neat, comprehensible packages. He believed that life made sense when you followed the rules, and the universe had a rhythm that could be understood if you paid attention. His world was filled with logic and plans, and he spent most of his days organizing thoughts, projects, and goals. They met one evening in an art gallery, each with their own reasons for being there. Sharon had wandered in to escape a heavy week at work, needing something to challenge her senses, something to make her feel alive again. Jordan was there on a whim, having heard about the exhibition from a friend who had promised it would be an intellectually stimulating experience. Sharon stood in front of a vibrant painting, her eyes tracing the chaotic strokes that made up an abstract representation of the cosmos. She tilted her head, wondering about the artist's intentions, trying to feel something deeper beyond the vibrant colors. She was lost in the moment when she felt someone approach beside her. Jordan had been standing a few feet away, quietly studying the same piece. His gaze was focused, methodical, as if searching for patterns in the disorder. He had been trying to decipher the meaning behind the piece, believing there was a logical reason for its design. And then, as if the universe had conspired to bring them Together he spoke up. Do you think the artist was trying to convey chaos, or is there some kind of order to all this? His voice was steady, thoughtful, not a hint of casualness in it. Sharon looked over at him, a smile creeping onto her lips. I don't know, I think sometimes chaos is just as meaningful as order, but I like to think there's a little bit of both in everything, don't you? Jordan's brow furrowed slightly. He hadn't expected an answer like that. I suppose I'm just not sure if there's a real pattern to all of this. His eyes flicked back to the painting. It's hard to find sense in something like this. Sharon tilted her head, intrigued. Well, maybe that's the point. Not everything has to make sense, maybe it's just about feeling something. Jordan's eyes met hers, and for the first time in a long while he felt a spark of curiosity. Her perspective was so different from his own, yet there was something magnetic about it. Sharon's way of thinking challenged him, pushed him to reconsider his rigid beliefs about structure and order, and Sharon, in turn, was captivated by his grounded, thoughtful approach to life. For all her love of spontaneity, there was something comforting about his steadfastness. Their conversation flowed effortlessly from the painting to more personal matters. They exchanged stories about their lives, Sharon's spontaneous travels, and Jordan's meticulous career planning. They laughed over their differences, but there was an undeniable connection forming between them, an attraction not just to each other's personalities, but to the different ways they viewed the world. Over the following weeks, they continued to meet, their conversations growing deeper and more meaningful. Sharon invited Jordan to a poetry reading, an event that she had been looking forward to for weeks, and Jordan surprised her by taking her to a lecture on philosophy, a subject he had always been passionate about, but had never quite found the right person to discuss with. They were opposites in many ways, yet there was an undeniable chemistry between them. They began to realize that they brought out the best in each other. Sharon's wild ideas and impulsive nature balanced by Jordan's careful analysis and grounded perspectives. As they spent more time together, they found that they had both been looking for something more in their lives. Sharon had been yearning for someone who would ground her, someone who wouldn't be thrown off by her unpredictable ways. Jordan, though he wouldn't admit it at first, had been searching for someone who could help him break free from his self-imposed boundaries and embrace the chaotic beauty of life. It was as if they had stumbled upon each other by fate, each offering what the other had been missing. Sharon began to feel drained by Jordan's need for structure, his plans, his schedules, his insistence on order. It started to feel stifling to her. She found herself longing for the freedom she once had, the kind of impromptu adventures that had defined her existence before Jordan had entered the picture. She wondered if perhaps their differences were too great to bridge, that maybe the spark they had shared would flicker out once reality set in. Jordan, too, began to feel the way of their differences. He loved Sharon's spontaneity, but it often left him feeling unsteady. The lack of predictability made him anxious. He began to wonder if they can really build something lasting when their approaches to life were so different. Could they find a middle ground, or were they destined to pull away from each other? The turning point came on a rainy evening when Sharon impulsively decided to take a trip to the mountains for the weekend. She didn't tell Jordan until the last minute, and he, in his typical manner, was upset by her lack of preparation. They had planned to spend the weekend in the city together, visiting museums and attending a lecture, but Sharon's sudden change of plans left Jordan feeling unimportant, like an afterthought. I don't understand why you always have to change everything at the last minute, Jordan said, his frustration evident. Sharon, sensing the tension between them, took a deep breath. I'm sorry, Jordan, but sometimes I need to just go. I can't always plan everything. It makes me feel trapped. Jordan paused, his eyes softening. I didn't know you felt that way. I like knowing what's next. It helps me feel in control. Sharon stepped closer to him, her voice gentle. I know, but I need you to understand that sometimes life is about embracing the unknown, about letting go of control. There was a long silence, and for a moment neither of them spoke. It was a quiet realization for both of them. Their differences were significant, But they didn't have to tear them apart, they could find a way to navigate them together to embrace each other's unique perspectives and allow space for growth. In the end, Sharon and Jordan found balance. They didn't become the same person, but they learned to appreciate the contrast in their lives. Sharon's spontaneity began to weave into Jordan's plans, and Jordan's structure gave Sharon a framework to pursue her dreams without feeling lost. What happened with Sharon and Jordan wasn't a simple story of opposites attracting, it was the story of two people learning to meet each other halfway, to challenge and support each other in ways they had never imagined. And in doing so, they discovered that sometimes the most beautiful relationships are built not by perfect harmony, but by the delicate dance between difference and connection.